Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the South LA Recap. This week, we've got a different episode ahead of us. We're talking with a local realtor who specializes in helping buyers and sellers find and sell homes in South LA. We're going to dive into some important questions in the South LA housing market, including climbing home prices, South LA's top selling features, and even how to prepare as a future homeowner. Just a disclaimer here, this episode will be longer than most of my regular episodes, and while you'll definitely learn a lot watching the whole thing, I've divided the video into chapters so you can easily find the topics that you need to know. So let's jump into it. So today's guest is Heather Presha from Presha Properties team. Heather is the lead agent at Presha Properties team and has sold residential real estate for over 14 years. And her team of professionals work with both buyers and sellers who have or are in search of homes in Inglewood and South LA. Heather is also a mentor for new agents. She teaches classes and has even contributed her expertise through interviews with the Los Angeles Times, KCRW Radio, Curbed LA, and USA Today. You can learn more about Heather and the Presha Properties team on their website at www.heatherpresha.com. So, Heather, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you. And thank you so much for pronouncing my name the right way. Longy, long A.
Great. So let's jump into these questions. So the first question, I'm sure a lot of people are very curious about this. Los Angeles, like every major city in the United States right now, is a hot market. Homes are selling thousands of dollars over listings, and if anyone has been watching the news, homes in San Francisco like over $500,000 over listing. So from your experience, how does the South LA market look? Are buyers being outbidded here? Are homes in the South LA neighborhoods selling at record prices?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. You know, as you mentioned, I have a team. So I usually work with the sellers, and I have 3 buyers agents. And they've just been experiencing having to get in the ring and fight like hell to just get offers accepted. And even though there are multiple offers on everything, it's still possible to win and get your offer accepted. You know, if you have the right mindset right now as a buyer, it's totally possible. Even as many offers as, there are, it's just a matter of, just knowing that you're going to win eventually and not giving up. Yeah. So with regards to the LA market right now, in particular, South LA is a little bit different. This really is one of the last most affordable, most convenient, most hip, most beautiful, most character, and most flavor in LA, as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, I'm a little biased, but I think, you can still get pretty close to most freeways. We've got tons of development going on here. The train is here. We got the stadium, the SoFi Stadium. I mean, it is really a wonderful neighborhood to be in. And, this is a place where we actually say hello to each other in the morning. It's you're going to find a block club captain that's, like organizing everybody and parties in the alley and on people's driveways. And it's really a lot of fun over here.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. I mean, living in South LA myself, people think that it's one way, and neighborhoods can vary just like anywhere, any other major city, any other part of the city. You have definitely great neighborhoods like what you're saying, with great community, with people with manicured lawns, and even enjoying being placed in, I think, the 110 and 105 freeways, which will get you practically anywhere that you need to go.
Yeah, and the 405 is here too, which
Right.
is not as busy as it used to be because of the pandemic, but still a quick way to get to the west side if you need to. And yeah, you're right. I mean, people are really have a sense of love and care for their property. And it's just a lot of fun. You're going to see a lot of culture here. And I love that about it.
So I guess jumping off those freeway topics, definitely the community and freeways can sell homes here in South LA. what other property features do homes in this region have that you'll be hard pressed to find anywhere else?
Yeah, well, I think what you're going to find is, of course, we are traditionally known for our Spanish style homes and, of course, the craftsman's. But I think you're going to find that we have a smaller home in Inglewood. You're going to find a smaller home on a larger lot in North Inglewood, and going down towards south, you're going to find bigger lots with bigger homes, and everything is just totally different now. It's always been a wonderful place to live and beautiful, but I think what you're going to find here is that sense of like neighborly love. I don't see it anyplace else. I've sold homes in a million different neighborhoods, and you don't see neighbors connecting the way they do here. I mean, there's runners clubs, there's block clubs, there's bikers clubs. I mean, there's a club for everything, and people are getting together. You will see in Leimert, you're going to see somebody having a party in the alleyway. Okay. And these are people who rent. So, I mean, there's just a love and pride that is here that I don't see anywhere else. And it is worth its weight in gold, man. If you could be a part of this, you would want to.
So, just like in the intro that I had for you, we mentioned that the Appreciated Property team focuses a lot on South LA, Inglewood, but South LA too, which isn't common. What led you to like really lead this endeavor to really specialize on this area in this region of South LA?
Yeah, that's a great question. I grew up in Westwood. I know that's so random, but I grew up in Westwood. I went to uni high school, but all my girlfriends lived over here in South LA, and I would come over here to visit, and I always have wanted to live here. Since then, I've gone to college, moved to New York, and I knew when I came back to LA that I wanted to live in South LA, and I have. And it just is, I mean, it's amazing. I think, I've worked in different offices too, all over the city. I've worked in Keller Williams Los Feliz and downtown. I've worked down by the beach in different brokerages. And I've always had to travel over here to show homes. And I just love the fact that I work at Keller Williams Inglewood in South LA. And sometimes I can walk to a listing. I can walk to a showing appointment. I love the convenience of it. And it makes me feel proud to be able to say that this is my specialty. If you go to Los Feliz and Keller Williams and you mention South LA, there's a good chance my name's going to come up because I have made it a brand for myself. And I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm all for that. Definitely business in South LA. So, next question here. If you were to give a South LA resident a word of advice before buying, what would that advice be?
Okay. Well, for buyers, I think, be willing to work with what's here. You're going to, and be willing to stretch. Most people who are going to buy their first home are going to pay upwards of $1,000 more than what they're paying for their rent. And essentially, I think when you have the renter hat on, you're going to need to take that hat off. And then you're going to want to put the homeowner hat on. It's a totally different hat. And I think when you realize what you're stretching for and that you're not actually paying for your rent, you're actually investing in a mortgage. This is a savings plan that is really going to hook you up in the future. So in order for you to stretch, nothing is comfortable. If this was comfortable, like all your friends would have a house, this is what I tell people all the time. This is us adulting, this is really us, getting into building a foundation of wealth. And that takes a lot of courage. So I would say be willing to work with a property that's not quite perfect. Be willing to stretch in your price point, and know that it's going to come back to you eventually in a world of wealth. And also, I think, it doesn't have to be your forever home. Maybe this is just a pit stop for you. And know that, just because you have a mortgage now doesn't mean you have a ball and chain. Most people are like, oh my God, I have a mortgage and, I'm stuck forever. No, you're not. People sell homes every day. And if you hate that home, you can sell it and buy another one. So that's my advice.
And what about for South LA homeowners?
For people who own their homes and they want to sell a home, is that what you mean?
Either own their homes or wondering if they should sell. Like, how do you really see homeowners, and like what's the best advice that they should be following right now in South LA?
Yeah, man, you're about to get hooked up. If you're thinking about selling your home, there's a million people at your door like, hey, but I would say, there's also a lot of homeowners out there that are, have a traditional mindset about owning a home that, oh, I don't want to touch my equity. But here's the thing about, when you own a home and it appreciates over time, the best thing about it is that, you'll have equity, the opportunity to take money out and buy something else. But that opportunity doesn't do you any good if you don't use it. If you have equity in your home, you need to reposition yourself right now while the getting is good and make more money with that money. Maybe you'll buy another property. Maybe you'll buy an income property, a building, maybe something outside of the state. But the equity doesn't really do you any good unless you use it. That's my advice.
Right. So if you're in that position as a millennial, we're all trying to get to that position. So definitely that's just more tools in your belt. And if you're not, hey, renting is still cool, but if you're ready to buy, this is definitely the time, I think, to really get your feet wet. I wrote when I was in New Orleans. I wrote for Curb New Orleans, and I wrote about house listings all of the time. And it was kind of ironic for me, at least, because I had my little studio apartment, and I'm like writing about like these vast center hall homes in New Orleans and all of these very unique architecture styles. And hey, it's something, and it's something to really aspire for, because eventually we can all get to the point where we can invest more money, and the money that we invest goes right back into the community. The house that you build is the first step to building a viable, growing, lively community.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, you youngsters, okay, you just need to understand you can get into this market. If you've got a 620 credit score and 25 grand, you can make it work. Totally. All right. Yeah. I'm just saying, it's really not that hard.
So, well, talking about millennials, let's go online for a second. So, online realtor sites, I like using Redfin, but you can look at all of them. But online realtor sites are reporting a nearly 50% increase in purchase price for South LA homes over the last 5 years. I mean, if your home was worth $250,000 in 2015, almost $500,000 guaranteed, just what people are paying for it. So why have homes become so much more expensive in South LA?
Well, I mean, I just think LA is expensive. I guess that's just a word, but I think, we're kind of running out of space. I mean, like I said, this is the last most affordable. I mean, if you think this is expensive, go hang out in Highland Park. I mean, the same house that you're going to find here, maybe a 2-2, the same 2-2 Spanish style here is going to be $500,000 more on the east side. So as prices go here in South LA, it's still very affordable. And, it may look like something else. Maybe you have to join forces with your best friend or your cousin or your mom. Get a gift from somebody. These are untraditional times. It's not going to come in the box with the bow on it. You're going to have to get in where you fit in if you want to get in. Either you're going to be in the stands or you're going to be in the parade. So that's how people have to see it here. And yeah, those websites are about right. We have such an increase in the price, but it's still doable.
And a lot of people I've heard are like waiting for a housing market crash. They're waiting for just prices to stop. Like maybe after the pandemic, everyone gets into a home and then there's less competition. Just based on what you've seen this trend, especially during COVID, do you ever think that home prices will go down or at least drastically enough to make a difference in a mortgage payment?
Who the hell knows? I mean, listen, we didn't know we were going to have a pandemic. I mean, if you're going to wait for something to happen, the best time to buy or to sell is when you're ready. The longer you wait to buy something, the more you're going to have to save. Do I think it's going down? No, I don't. I don't see it. Show it to me. I don't see it. I really don't see it. And if there's some major catastrophe or disaster and the rates drop, who knows what's going to happen? But I think based on what's happening right now, I mean, if we're at a steady incline. I mean, if you just take a look at the MLS, where us realtors, we look to find properties, there's 2 properties for sale in Leimert Park right now. 2. One is $799 and the other one is $1.299. Okay. So, that doesn't account for the rest of South LA, but you're going to be hard pressed to find something for $500,000 that's in decent shape, that's, not in the cut where, so I think it's, if you want to do it, then you got to be brave and you got to take the right steps. The first thing is to get your foundation, which is your loan. And it costs you nothing to do that, So it's just pulling your credit, taking an application, gathering some paperwork to see what's possible. And it costs nothing. Piece of cake.
All right, everyone, this wraps up our interview on buying and selling homes in South LA with Heather Presha. And if you are at all inspired about selling or buying a home in South LA, you should definitely think about reaching out to Heather and her team at Presha Properties, a team of real estate professionals dedicated to South LA and Inglewood. And since that's it, I'll see you guys all around on the recap.